Hello everybody, today I'm going to be talking about the Kitasan Black banner rerun, and I'm going to be telling you why Kitasan Black is a must pull and how long she's going to be relevant for. If you found this video to be helpful, consider subscribing, it will help with the channel growth. Anyways, for Kitasan Black, we still have about 3 months of relevancy for Unity Cup until we get to make a new track. These are the speed cards that will come out for Unity Cup. So Kitasan Black is going to be better than Makihano Fukitaru's speed card. While this card is very good, it's still not as good as Kitasan Black. It is going to be better, however, in Make a New Track. This Mino Topugan is a front runner oriented card. So yeah, it's a good card, but Kitasan Black is still going to be better. And of course, given our current situation, everybody still recommends you to use Kitasan Black over Pika Pegasus and Sakura Bakashin. So, for Unity Cup, Kitasan Black is going to be over the top of the pyramid, where she's going to be the best card in slot, or whatever you want to call it. She's going to be the first option that you will want to pick for Unity Cup. However, once we get to Make a New Track scenario, this card will sort of fall off. The reason is that you need it to have at least 10% race bonus for a card to be extremely good for Make a New Track. However, for Kitasan Black, she only has 5% race bonus. So she doesn't really have that much going for her for Make a New Track. So the 4 cards mentioned earlier and the Naruto Top Gun card is going to be better than Kitasan Black. However, if you're talking about it from the standard of, let's see which is the best 5% race bonus speed card, Kitasan Black is going to be the best one. The closest card is going to be the Summer Marasenski card. This card, a lot of people say is very good card, and I do agree. However, it's a extremely powerful card only for front runners. If you're going to run a front runner, then this card is going to be better than Kitasan Black. However, if not, then Kitasan Black is of course going to be better. So out of the 3 cases scenario where you're building a front, base, late or end, only front runners will benefit the most from this card. And Kitasan Black of course is a generalist card. So if you're building a front runner, then it will look like this. If not, then Kitasan Black is going to be better. So yeah, Kitasan Black unfortunately does kind of fall off for Make a New Track. It's going to be about a 4-month period, but the card is still going to be good if you do not have other options. Moving on, we have the Grand Life scenario, and Kitasan Black again will just outshine almost every single card as mentioned before, outside of one card. This card is going to be an Agias Takeon card, which is about the equal power to Kitasan Black overall. This card is mainly for pace chasers in the medium distance track. So again, if you're looking at it for a perspective of benefiting every single strategy, then Kitasan Black is going to be slightly better in terms of general value. However, if you're building a pace chaser for medium tracks, then this card is going to be outshining Kitasan Black. I'm going to be talking about the cards that are of course very good, but I'm just giving you a comparison of why, let's say, Kitasan Black is very good and why these cards are going to be slightly better than it. So for the next 4 months in the Grand Life scenario, she is going to be all over the meta. You're going to see her on every single deck. So now, if you have a very strong deck, you're probably not going to use Kitasan Black for this scenario. So we have about 4 months over here and 3 months over here. Sorry, this is supposed to be 3 months. So that's already 7 months of true relevancy of Kitasan Black, which is of course very very good. Next up is going to be the Grandmaster scenario, and again, she's going to be all over the meta. She's going to be the best card up until the release of a card called Jungle Pocket. This is the start of Kitasan Black's downfall, because they realized that hey, Kitasan Black has a very very long relevancy, and this is a big issue. So we would need to start killing the card. So they started to release cards that will outright kill Kitasan Black. So that's an extra 4 months. So we already have like a really long period where Kitasan Black is going to be very very good at. Or like if you're looking at it from scenario perspective, it's going to be powerful in Unity Cup, decent in Make a New Track, extremely powerful in Grand Live, and extremely powerful in Grandmasters. That's 4 scenarios worth of relevancy, which is of course very very crazy. Next up is going to be Project Lark, or the 6th scenario, which is the start of hey, let's just outright kill Kitasan Black. So they released this El Condor Pasa card, which is basically like straight up a better version of Kitasan Black in a lot of scenarios. So Kitasan Black will fall off because mostly you're using 2 to 3 speed cards, and with these like Agia Stakion speed card, if you're making a pace chaser, then you're going to drop Kitasan Black completely, or you're using the Jungle Pocket card. So that's like your 3 cards: Kitasan Black, El Condor Pasa, and Jungle Pocket or Agia Stakion. However, Kitasan Black just truly dies after this card called Dimitri is going to be out. So this is about like the end of Project Lark-ish card. So the card is going to be very very good for a really long while. Overall, I'm going to switch over to Game Tura and talk about these cards specifically, but just know that every single card that comes before Kitasan Black and after Kitasan Black, all the way until like I guess Stakion Speed card or Jungle Pocket, Kitasan Black is just going to be outright better overall. So one more thing that I want to talk about before talking about the other cards, comparing it to Kitasan Black. The other card with Kitasan Black's Rerun is going to be El Condor Pasa, which is a very very powerful power card. The reason is that you are pulling on a card that is going to be a top tier card, and this side card is going to be very very good because it has 10% race bonus and max limit break, and it has a lot of friendship bonus from here and from here, and she also has a very good amount of specialty priorities. So yeah, this card going to be very very good, and it's going to be a very strong pace chaser for medium based tracks card, which could very well pair with I guess Stakion speed card, because Killer Tunes has been massively buffed to be 2.4 seconds long instead of 0.9. This card is going to be extremely powerful too. So you're pulling on essentially 2 top tier cards for their perspective like stat. Kitasan Black for speed and El Condor Pasa for power. So very 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 good banner, and if you are somebody new, this is a must pull banner overall. So let's talk about the cards that are compared to Kitasan Black, which is going to be Agia Stakion, Marazansky, Jungle Pocket, and El Condor Pasa. So I'm going to compare each one separately. So the first card is going to be Agia Stakion, and you can see that already this card has an absurd amount of friendship bonus. This is an actual gimmick by the way, but let's go through different stats. So this card has a speed bonus, Kitasan Black does not. However, Kitasan does have a power 1, which is of course very very powerful. She does have 15% training effectiveness, and I guess Takeon has 5. However, like the rest are whatever. I guess Takeon does not have any race bonus or a fan bonus, by the way, so it could be like slightly annoying to use during like if you want to go to the 35% race bonus limit strategy. So it has a very high also specialty priority like Kitasan Black, that being at 80 compared to 100, and this is where I guess Takeon gets a lot of credit, and that is plus 2 skill point bonus. This is going to be very very helpful, especially on like Grand Life and beyond. This is going to be extremely good. So for the Agias Takeon speed card, this is the part where I say it's a gimmick, because the unique effect is grant friendship bonus when the bond gauge is full. So you want to max the entire gauge for it to work. At max limit break, she only has 20% friendship bonus until you max out the gauge, where she gets an extra 20. That 20%, by the way, gets added into here, so that's why you see 44% from the friendship bonus, because 20% on a 20% is a 4%. So I will add that 4% on top of that 20% from here, equaling to 44%. Overall, this card is going to be very very powerful. It also gives you a very good pace chaser skill, and yeah, this is where Kitasan Black starts to get some competition. But however, this card is going to be like paired very well with Kitasan Black, and this is where you're probably not going to see a card like Piga Pegasus or Sakura Bakshin, or like these cards are paired as a third card for Umas that do not have any speed increase. But overall, this card is going to be very good. So the next card, this is going to be Marazansky speed card. Both of them are unironically very similar in terms of stats over here. Marazansky, however, has 1 speed boost compared to Kirasan not having none, by the way. Overall, very very similar. However, as you can see, I did skip over one thing, and that is its training effectiveness. Summer Marazansky has a unique gimmick of getting training effectiveness pure every level of the current training facility. So if I have a level 4 training facility on speed, this is going to be 20% training effectiveness. It just depends on the level of the training facility where Summer Marazansky lands on. So this card, as you can clearly see, frontrunner skill, frontrunner, 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 frontrunner skill, all of it is just frontrunner skills. And this card is also going to be very decent too for frontrunners compared with Escape Artist, and this card is going to be an essential card for Valentine Mihono Bourbon. And overall, this card for frontrunners, it is a cracked card. It's going to be probably better than Kirasan Black for front runner only, but for anybody else, it's going to be weaker than Kirasan Black. Next up is going to be Jungle Pocket, and this is where they just throw the balance off of the table just to get rid of Kirasan Black. Look at this, 3 speed bonus. This card just outright has 3 speed bonus, and they just want to kill Kitasan Black immediately because of this card. So this is their first try of just outright buffing speed cards, because Kitasan Black's relevancy has been gone for a really long time. So they gave it an insane speed bonus, and they also gave it a skill bonus here. They also gave it power bonus, so outright better stats than Kitasan Black for the most part. And this card is mostly for late surgers, for medium tracks. But overall, this is the card that requires you to have max bond gauge to get 3 speed bonus. This is similar to Agia's Takeon, where she gets 20% more friendship bonus. And overall, very good card, because keep in mind that this works for wit training and also gut training. So you would get a lot of extra speed that way too. Overall, this is where Kitasan Black starts to fall off, and I'm going to switch to the Japanese version just to show you something. This card has been released on May 19th, 2023 for the Japanese version, and for Kitasan Black, this card really does stand against time, because this card is 2 years ago, and this card is like very very strong still, because Jungle Pocket does not outright power creep Kitasan Black and throw her off the deck. You still use a second or potentially even a third card. So Kitasan Black is still going to be very 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 good, but not just the best on card slot like every single time. So next up is going to be the El Condor Pasa speed card, and this is the first nail in the coffin for the Kitasan Black, because if we take a look over here, while the stats may seem weaker at first, this card is a scenario link card for the Project Lark scenario, and it's going to matter a lot more. And overall, it has this stupid mechanic of all stats bonus 1. So this is speed 1, power 1. So the speed bonus over here is actually not +1, it's +2. And it also has +2 skill bonus. And overall, this card is actually like a very cracked version of Kitasan Black. Although it does require you to have a max bond gauge 2 to get its true potential. This is where the card truly shines. Professor of Curvature. On the final step, this card has Professor of a Curvature hint, which are like they are trying to kill Kitasan Black by just making a card that is better that has the exact same skill. However, you have the choice between this skill or a skill for Pace Chasers and Late Surgers, by the way. So if you bring this card and pick the check skill, you can use Kitasan Black and still get Professor of Curvature. And this card is a very strong Pace Chaser skill for medium basic tracks and also Pace Chasers. So yeah, Kitasan Black still going to be relevant, but the final card that I talked about was which was the Geometry card. This card is the killer for Kitasan Black, because overall it just has straight up better numbers, and at that point you could just use the El Condor Pasa for Professor of Curvature. So Kitasan Black is like when this card comes out is when Kitasan Black truly just dies. But take a look at this again, like 120 specialty priority and very high amount of friendship bonus and also friendship initial gauge too. So this card has been out since December 28th, 2023. Kitasan Black has stood for about 3 total years of relevancy. So what you're going to pull on is a card that is going to stay relevant for about a 1.5 to 2 years period, and this power card is going to help you in make a new track scenario too. So this card really does like stand the test of time, being one of, if not like, if it's probably the best aging card in the entirety of UmaMusume, because of like speed is also like a very competitive side of cards, because the speed is the most important stat. And yeah, that's pretty much it. One more thing that I want to talk about, and that is going to be the start of the fourth scenario onwards. Every single scenario after the fourth scenario is going to feature a very very essential PAL card, and you are forced to run this card. However, you like for sometimes you would not get this card at like 3 limit break or max limit break, so your borrow slot might potentially be already locked for the PAL card of the scenario. And if you do not have Kitasan Black, and the other player has Kitasan Black, they will outright make better Umas than you overall on average runs. So yeah, you should pull on Kitasan Black, and that's pretty much it. If you found this video to be helpful, consider subscribing, and I hope to see you in the next one.